What's up, my friends? Happy hump day. That's right. It's Wednesday. We are incredibly close to the NFL kickoff tomorrow night, as I would tell my kids. I did it again, freaking YouTube. One more sleep, and then we're here. We're there. We're ready for action. We got money on the line across probably sports betting, DFS. We are playing on multiple platforms. Some people are throwing in single bullets. Some people are playing 150 entries plus. Well, our goal is, no matter what you're doing this week or this weekend, is to prepare you for whatever experience you want to have. So today, this stream is brought to you by Fancy Cruncher. They sponsor this stream as teamriseorfall.com tries to provide as much content, as many cool tools that are functional both for your own goals and for your goals within using FC. If you use promo code NFL50, you'll get yourself 50% off your first month with us, and you guys will end up getting $20 to FC. Santa Dave is back, giving out the goodies, making sure that people feel valued, and we're here to support those people who want to give it a try. So, again, dive into teamriseorfall.com, and let's get started. Now, today, we have been talking about this on stream, and we said we are going to be looking at single-entry optimal building. How do you do it in FC? Now, I've talked about this in the past. I love single entries. I think they're a phenomenal way to build your bankroll, especially if you're entering those small tournaments. The thing is, a lot of people sit there and they're telling their wife and their kids and their family, and they're sitting there saying, I'm not feeling too good. My IBS is, bothering me. It's 15 minutes before pre-lock. You ain't tricking anybody anymore. It's 2021. Your IBS has been flaring up for years. Thursday night at 8 p.m. Every single Thursday at 8 p.m., IBS shows up. You sit there and you're on your phone, hiding in the bathroom, building your lineup by hand. That is 2015 style, baby. We are in 2021. It is time, my friends, to focus on the future, to get better at building lineups. We are done hand building, and we're done hiding while we do so. I want you to learn how to use FC, build your single entry optimals, give yourself a phenomenal way to play a small field tournament. Now, if you're playing a large tournament, you can still build a single entry optimal using Fancy Cruncher. You're just going to go through and set up your settings in a different way. Again, if you're in a small tournament, we're talking 60, 70 people, maybe the $12 on FanDuel, which I have loaded up today. I'm looking at FanDuel. If you're playing the FanDuel like $12, 49 person, well, my friends, honestly, you could upload your projections, set up like very loose rules and guidelines that you want FC to use, crunch out a single entry optimal without thinking too much else into it. If you're playing a larger tournament, well, then we're going to want to adjust some things. Probably going to try to leverage some of the public's perception of what is the right way to build a lineup that week, and then do something that's different, or at least be on the same path, but diverge a little bit down another path. Even though you're going to the same promised land, you're not going down the same exact road that everybody else is. So today, that's what this stream is about. We're going to look at the different ways to build single entries, the different ways to build a lineup to the contest. Again, we don't want to build lineups and then say, I'm going to enter this, and that. No. That's not how you play DFS. You need to be building to the specific contest you're entering. If it's a very small tournament, those lineups need to be built a very specific way compared to the lineups that are going into a huge tournament. So today, let's do it, and let's do it together. What is up, chat? I missed y'all. Thanks for sitting there as I chat away. I'm up in front of the classroom today. I can't help myself. This week is such an important week. I want to make sure everybody's prepared. I'm loving the momentum I'm seeing right now on YouTube. Already 50 viewers in our first, 4 minutes going live. Back in the day on Twitch when we were really in the zone, we had over 1 million hours watched. We would get anywhere 80 to 120 per day during the daytime. It looks like we're slowly working our way back up to that. A couple hundred people tuning in Sunday mornings. Hopefully, we're able to get back to that as well. Thank you for swinging by. Now, if this is your first time checking out one of these streams, my friends, you guys actually are able to ask as many questions as you want while we're going through this. We're going to be building out some lineups, talking about some settings, and I want people to ask questions. That's the only way anybody's going to get better. There's no silly questions. There's nothing stupid to me. I think it's all phenomenal. What's up, Mike Beery? Appreciate you, Dave. Jeff Chambers, 32 hours of kickoff, this guy says. He's not counting down the minutes and the hours. Appreciate you. What's up, Pat? Hope you had a good birthday, my friend. Dewey, welcome back, baby. It's my man, CG, the model himself, and I don't mean a fitness model. I don't mean a hand model. I mean our projections model wizard. He is always in Discord just cooking up the gems. He did it last night at like 2 a.m. He updated everything. What a beast. Daniel, my man, hit $8,000 last night. Congratulations, dude. Let me show this off. Seriously, congrats. That was sick. What a hit. Where is that thing? There it is. 8 G's this guy hit. Man, and he had a 5K hit earlier this week. Now, one of my favorite parts about what Daniel does every single week, every single slate, he's a single entry builder. And that's the topic of conversation today. What's up, Buck T? Fonzie, appreciate you. Oh, thanks, man. 50 watching, 19 likes. That's all right. Everyone's kind of waking up in the middle here. Mitch, week 1, you should play Bofa. No, okay. Yeah, you're a cool guy. Real cool guy this guy is. Who lets this guy in here every stream? It's so bizarre. Like, just leave, CG. Golly. We're looking at single entry optimals. Here's what one would look like. Listen, I'm uploading projections. I've got them in here, and bang. That is a single entry optimal. It crunches out the best possible scoring lineup that your projections can lead to based on the salary and the restrictions you use. This is called a raw optimal. Not a huge fan of using these in any way, shape, or form. I know some companies out there are like, this is how you make a cash lineup. Sure, you could do that to an extent, but we're not playing cash on a showdown slate. This is for showdown. So when you're building out your single entry optimal, I think one of the best ways to do this is to simply start with the captain spot, because from there, you're going to tell your story. You are saying, I think this game theory will play itself out, and then you're going to try to leverage that game theory in your lineup. Pardon me. So, again, look at this. So if I'm looking at Tom Brady, my goodness, he's the highest owned. We have him as the highest, he's in here, FC Pros, the highest projected owned quarterback, or excuse me, MVP. I wanted to say captain spot. We're not on DraftKings today. So if you're looking at this, do you really want to be moving up and down a tournament with 1 out of every 4 people? No, thank you. Not me. That's not how I want to play this. So one of the first things I want to do is tell my story. How do I envision this playing out? Maybe I see something like this. Chris Godwin, thigh injury. Maybe he's labored. Maybe he misses the game. Antonio Brown, and I sent out that tweet. I saw like 60 people like that one this morning. I think you guys like that. I don't know. Antonio Brown, maybe he just gets peppered with targets, becomes the PPR, maybe he's the chain mover in this game, right? And Mike Evans is the red zone guy, but maybe AB becomes that chain mover. Okay, so here's I can tell my story. And I say, you know what, MVP spot, I want it to be Antonio Brown. So I'm going to plug him in there. I know that I'm going to tell my story this way. I know in my flex spot, I'm okay having Tom Brady here. At flex, at quarterback, I'm okay having Tom Brady. Maybe, in fact, I actually want to lock him in, but I didn't want him in the MVP spot. So while 25% of the field has Tom Brady in the captain, I've got Antonio Brown in the captain spot, and I still included Tom Brady, but he's in my flex position. From here, my friends, I could go through and I can just sit. I honestly could crunch from here and just rely on my projections enough to do its job this way. And you can see that it will have already built out a lineup. This is kind of old school in its own way, but it's helpful for you people who sit there on your cell phones to be able to see a way where you can honestly go in here, upload projections, lock, crunch, and you'll be okay. This is not how I would suggest doing things. To be honest, to be completely honest, I'm a huge fan of going through here, setting up, you don't have to mess with any of this stuff necessarily because you're only building one single entry optimal lineup. So that's slightly irrelevant. I'm a huge fan of going to 2 spots, your position stacks and your groups. Now, if I'm setting up a position stack, maybe I want to tell Fantasy Cruncher, using the Team RiseOrFall projections today, I don't want to have 2 running backs from the same team included in my lineup. So I'm saying limit, and let's use Tampa, for example. Limit Ronald Jones Jr., Leonard Fournette, and Giovanni Bernard from Tampa to 1 player in my lineup. Okay? So I can put a rule in like that. That allows me to avoid that negative correlation. Then if I want to go to the groups, and maybe I want to build a group centered around Antonio Brown, the MVP. So I've got AB in here, and I can say this is my AB optimal, okay? And I go ahead and I plug in AB. I've said when Antonio Brown gets used as the MVP, which I will go back and I'm going to make sure he is used. From here, I want to make sure that here are the players that get included as well. So maybe if Antonio Brown's just absolutely popping off, well, what probably happened the team was probably throwing the ball a ton. So maybe I'm not going to focus on Ronald Jones. I'm not going to focus on Leonard Fournette. Two guys I think their value is inherently going to be in between the 20s and inside the red zone. And if that means Giovanni Bernard is getting a lot more run because they're throwing the football a lot more, I'm doing that. Now, maybe I do not want to include Mike Evans, by the way, because Mike Evans might be negatively correlated if I have Antonio Brown. So if I have Antonio Brown and I'm saying he's going to have 10 catches, 122 scores, well, I probably don't want Mike Evans. There's likely not going to have the ceiling that I need him to have at 13 hundo. Maybe Rob Gronkowski gets slammed in there, though. Maybe Ryan Suckup is a fine option, specifically because maybe they're not scoring as many touchdowns as they should, and they're settling for field goals. Tom Brady could have 2 touchdown throws to Antonio Brown. Ryan Suckup kicks 3 field goals. This team still ends up winning 23-17 or something like that, right? I mean, there are many ways to different victory here. If you don't think that kickers belong, they don't have the ceiling that you need, don't include them into your group. So I can go ahead and build this out like this. And I say, you know what? I want to include 2 of these players. So there we go. Now watch this. I'm actually going to create another AB group, and here is why. Because when I am going through here, let me go unselect everybody here, select back the captains. Here's Antonio Brown. I've keyed in Antonio Brown. I'm going to unfilter everybody again. Now, I am going to go to the Dallas side of the ball. So I'm going to uncheck Tampa. I've left Dallas in there now. Now I'm going to create guys I want on the opposite side to make sure, and I'm going to uncheck. Let's uncheck MVPs. There we go. So I've got guys on the opposite side of the ball now that I want to have included with Antonio Brown. So here we go. Maybe I love Dak Prescott and maybe Zeke. Well, let's take Dak out. And here's why. I'm going to tell a quick story. Antonio Brown is getting peppered with targets. He's moving the chains, catches a couple touchdowns, whatever. How did this happen? Why did it happen? Tom Brady was playing from behind. How was he playing from behind? I thought Tampa wasn't supposed to lose. Maybe Zeke Elliott losing all that weight, being in shape, looking fresh and young to start off the season. The Dallas went out there and said, you know what? We're going to control the line of scrimmage. We're going to control the clock, and we're going to control the flow of the game. We're going to take the ball out of Tom Brady's hands. Tom Brady threw the ball 62.91% of every snap last year. So we want to make sure he doesn't have the opportunity to throw the ball 45 times against our defense that struggles against the pass. So the Cowboys say, we're going to make sure that Zeke is fed the ball. So I'm going to give a projection increase of 20% to Zeke Elliott. There it is. Let me mute my phone here. There we go. So I've got Zeke, and I'm saying I want 20% projection increase. I really want to make sure Zeke gets included, and I'm going to continue. I don't want Dak included because I think the ball is going to be on the ground for a lot of the game for Dallas. This is my story I'm telling to build my single entry optimal. I'm going to include the wide receivers, hoping I just, not Dak, sorry. Include the wide receivers. I'm hoping I just get a touchdown or 2 in here somewhere. Let's see, whom else can we include? Maybe we'll throw a dart in there like Cedric Wilson. We're going to have 2 guys on this side, at least 2. From the AB optimal, we have at least 2. And I've got my rule set up. All I set up was a very generic rule here. If I wanted to set something else up like this, I could say, quarterbacks from same game to 1 player. That way I do not get Dak and Tom Brady in the same lineup. You could do something like that. The limit rules will help you there. I have not limited the amount of players I can have on either team. Matter of fact, now that I'm thinking about this, on DraftKings, there's 6 players. On FanDuel, it's 5. So maybe I want to loosen my rules up a little bit. So I'm only asking for at least 1 person on the other team. AB's side, let's go 2. We want 2 players from Tampa included. And I would calculate, and I don't want to show everything out. There we go. I've created myself a single entry optimal, and this is based on the rules that I built. And again, if I go through here and I'm looking, I'm like, well, hold up. Tom Brady's my MVP. I didn't want that. I wanted Antonio Brown to be my MVP. You would simply click AB, calculate, and there we go. I've got my Antonio Brown optimal. And when I go back through and I look at my lineup itself, there we go. Because I had the rule in there and I said 1 quarterback here on FC from this game, Dak Prescott was not included. I would imagine, by the way, if I go here and I remove that rule and I calculate, watch this, look at that. Because their projections are so high, because you have so much money salary on FanDuel for only 5 spots, it's easy to jam these guys in. This is going to be an incredibly chalky way people build. You can already make yourself different by just removing one of the quarterbacks from your lineup. So that lineup being built, saying only 1 quarterback from that game, you are inherently already making yourself a little bit more unique than the field. I would imagine to an extent here, if you know that the MVP, 45%, that's half of all lineups, will have one of these quarterbacks in the MVP spot. And then you also know that the other, in the flex position, you'll have half the lineups already having here. Let me do some quick math in my head. I mean, this comes out to, if half the lineups have a quarterback in the MVP spot, so let's say 100 lineups, right? There's 100 entries in the tournament, whatever. We're just easy math. And we're saying 50 of them will have one of the quarterbacks in the MVP spot. And then we have added this up. The other 50% guy will be included in the rest of the lineups. You can break this down and say, for every single lineup that Tom Brady is in the MVP spot, so let's say 25 of them, 12 of them will also include Dak Prescott and vice versa. So you're looking at 55 to 60%. I might have done that math wrong. I'm trying to do it in my head while I'm talking. We'll have two quarterbacks included in all lineups. So you can go ahead and be in that smaller amount. What is that? 35, 40% of the field if you are using just one quarterback. And there you go. You've made yourself a little bit more unique by just kind of saying, I'm not going to use two quarterbacks in my lineup. It's too easy to do. You have also gotten off some of the chalkier options here at running back, and we are just grabbing as much upside as we can at wide receiver. We've got Gronk, no defense included. Yes, I forgot there's no defense on FanDuel. Thank goodness. So there we go. I mean, honestly, this is what I'm trying to show you. I want to get the juices flowing. Now, if you're going through on FanDuel and you're like, that's not the story I'm telling. Matter of fact, Mitch, I think it's going to be an absolute shootout. I do not want to limit the quarterbacks. Well, check this out. You're going to want to go here and you're going to make a group specifically for each quarterback. So if you have a Tom Brady, okay, MVP, and you want Dak Prescott, all right? So you can either just jack up Dak Prescott's projection here and say, I want to make sure he's in there whenever he's used. There you go. You could just give like a crazy high projection increase, and I promise you, more likely than not, he will end up being included in your lineup. So you could do that and then go ahead and fill out the rest of your lineup how you want to do it. Now, you're going to want to make two groups, okay? You're going to want to make a Tom Brady MVP Tampa group. And again, tell your story. Well, if Tom Brady is MVP, they're likely not rushing the ball. He's going to be throwing it a lot more. So I'm going to include the wide receivers, some of these pass catchers, maybe O.J. Howard, try to get lucky down there. We're not including Fournette, Ronald Jones. And I'm going to say I want 3 of these guys. Right? He's just going to be throwing the ball like crazy, right? And then you got to go to the other side, though. And you need to make a similar group. But this time, you are actually going to be focusing specifically on the Dallas players. So I've got Tom Brady in there. I'm taking out Tampa, and I've left in the Tampa players. I'm going to refilter these guys and take out the MVPs. And now I've got all the players from the Dallas side of the ball, and I'm just putting them in. And listen, you can put Zeke in if you want. You can put in some of these other players if you'd like. We got that. Who else do we have? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Michael Gallup. I feel like I'm missing one. CD. Do I have CD Lamb? Cooper, Prescott, and CD. Whatever. And we'll put, let's just let it rip. All right. We want at least just one. Just one. Maybe I even want to say exactly one. Like, I don't know. Let's try it. Let's do exactly one. So I've made my my Brady with Tampa, and then my Brady with Dallas. So I'm going to go back here, go to the MVP spot. I've locked in Brady, and I've made myself a lineup that is centered around, look at this, because I left that rule open, remember, and I went to my groups. And for my Tampa group, I gave Dak Prescott 100% increase. Now, I can look at the rest of my lineup and included some of these guys here, Mike Evans. Cool. So it looks like we only ended up getting Dak Prescott is the only Dallas player included. So CG just took the words right out of my mouth. My goal of today's stream is try to get you guys thinking of how to use FC to build a single lineup. And when you build those lineups, game theory, man, you just, like CG said, you are building a story. You want to make sure that when you build your lineups, you're just telling a story. It's a little bit more difficult when you're doing MME because you're telling many stories at once through your groups. And that's okay. And again, I can show you here on DraftKings yesterday that we set these up, or maybe 2 days ago, we set these up. When I did my groups, I told many stories so that when I crunched my lineups, I had all sorts of stories and scenarios so that, listen, if Dak Prescott gets used as the captain, well, I've got my story told. If Tom is used as my captain, I have my story told. Same way for every single player. Now on FanDuel or even DraftKings, if you're making just a single entry lineup, a single optimal lineup, you're telling one story, whatever you want that story to be, and then you can crunch it out. And that is a lot better than sitting there on your phone. I promise you, it's a lot better than sitting there on your phone and trying to identify what is the best lineup I can possibly build. It's just not the way to go about doing it. Yes, ask yourself those questions. If Tom Brady goes off, what happens? How can you take advantage of that? How can you leverage that scenario? If Dak Prescott goes off, what happens? How to build a lineup if Dak goes off, right? You're just telling stories. Are you going there? Are you not entertained? There you go. Might be misremembering, but I thought 2 QBs had a much higher hit potential on FanDuel versus DK due to scoring and the non 1.5 on the captain's spot. Couldn't tell you. Never did showdowns last year on FanDuel. Barely did them last year on DraftKings. Only did the DraftKings lineup study streams for 7-8 days. So I know DraftKings that 2 quarterbacks was not a good way to try to climb the standings on DraftKings. We found that the wide receivers being the captain spot was a ridiculous hit rate, being inside the top 20. FanDuel, couldn't tell you. You might want to be building a higher floor over there. Who knows? Worth looking into. The beauty of having lineup rewind, lineup study to do that type of work. Let's see. What else do we want to cover today? I had notes page. Let me show you guys what I had. So we looked at single entries, FanDuel Showdown. We're talking about a little bit right now. That's right. We wanted to look at Yahoo and Superdraft today. Let's freaking do it. Let's go. 2 QBs does not leave you with much money. All right. Good to know. Let's go look at some of these other sites because they've added them. So why the heck not? So we've got Yahoo and we have Superdraft. Now, let me do Superdraft first because I've clearly played a lot on Superdraft before. Yahoo is going to be a little learning curve. I don't know how to read this stuff. The star spot multiplies by 1.5 times multiplier. But otherwise, I'm not entirely sure how that works. So we'll go look at that together. Maybe I can load up Yahoo and we can just go look at it because I'm intrigued. Let me load up Superdraft real fast, too. It has been a minute since I've looked at Superdraft and their showdown lobby. All right, so NFL. Click the multiplier. We've got Dallas and Tampa. All game modes. Okay. Okay, so it's 5 players, and the champion gets a 1.5 times multiplier. So, that's interesting. So it's only 5 players. And because of these multipliers, we're probably not going to see so many people chopping up first place. I would imagine we're not going to see as many people chopping first. These multipliers create massive separation when you're building your lineups. Am I the only one who gets groups and get the restraint sad face emoji? Melvin, let me tell you this, my friend. So when you do that, my friend, a lot of the issues people run into is right here. If they do not set up some type of, max 2 players, 3 players, whatever from the defense, sometimes you'll get bottlenecked. Even if it doesn't use them, my friends, having that in there often unlocks things. I'm not even kidding. 100% global cap to start. I mean, I would start looser and then work your way down. If your caps are too low, then sometimes your lineups can't be built, things like that. So, all right. So anyways, Superdraft, let's see. Unique players per position for Superflex. How interesting. Does Yahoo have that? No. Wow. Dave added this so that we could create a different amount of uniques for the Superflex spot. I actually want to fiddle around with this a little bit. 5 players. I'm thinking 2 uniques is probably okay. Maybe even 1. Looks like you can go 4 ones as the restriction here on Superdraft. Let me see. Let me look at the rules real quick. Contest rules. Doesn't say anything. Oh, must include 2 different teams. Yeah, 4 flex players. Okay. Let's freaking try it. Why not? I'm going to play him too. Why not? That looks decent. What's the payouts here? 8,000 or first place, $50,000 tournament. You know, $5,000 would have been 10%. That would have been nice. 20% would have been 10,000. So it looks like, I don't know, what is that? 16% goes to first place. 25% is going to the first two places. I mean, a small tournament though, which is nice. It's a small tournament. All right, so I've got the projections in uploaded here, and the way we upload our projections here is it uploads the projection itself, but it will not upload it multiplied. The beauty of FC is it will multiply it for you. So you want to project by multiplier if you're using our projections, which will be this category. And you can see a lot of these wide receivers end up being the key to victory. Look at that. So, I mean, ideally, if you're making lineups, I don't necessarily want to make like a single entry optimal right now, because I just have not done that on Superdraft. But maybe doing something like a 3 max might be the play here. Let me make sure here. I just want to look at a few things. Like these tight ends, players like this, like I know they have a massive multiplier, but Blake Jarwin, I'm sorry, probably just not going to be included in some of these spots. Like champions. A site like Superdraft, I really want to capture as much upside as I can, right? Especially if I'm only playing a few lineups. Tom Brady having a 1.9 is kind of wild. Dak is all the way down here at 1.5, removes himself from consideration for the most part. Okay, so I've got a small champion group. I'm going to see if these guys get included. I'm fairly certain I don't want to touch any of these types of players. I just don't want them to show up. Scotty Miller potentially stays in there. Actually, it's a smaller tournament. I mean, we're talking, 2,900 people. I don't need Scotty Millers. That's a milli maker play in your 472,000 lineups on DraftKings, right? Same here at tight end. I mean, honestly, you can include these guys. I don't need Jeremy Sprinkle and all these garbage players showing up. Let's let this rip. Hey, that worked out great. So simply adding in 2 uniques, I added no other rules. Let's see how these lineups came out. So I ended up getting no quarterbacks in the flex position. Super flex. Oh, hold up. So the champion spot, what does that multiply by? Let me go back to Superdraft. Ooh, this is fun. I love learning this new stuff, learning these new sites. Okay, hold on. Let's look at this. Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate that, Melvin. Looking forward to my playbook. I can't wait to make this thing this weekend. It's going to be a blast, dude. You guys are popping off in chat. This is dude, are my Twitch people back asking all these questions? I love that. I love that. Okay, hold on. Let me look at this. I didn't realize. So there's a champion spot. They get in a higher multiplier. Then what is this? Oh, that's just that's just what it's called. Okay, never mind. All right, so we ended up getting a whole bunch of. So clearly you're going to want to cap some exposure here to an extent. And like if you're getting no Tom Brady outside of that, look, I mean, you don't get him in a champion spot. You don't get him in super flex. This is just showing me that, holy smokes, the wide receiver multipliers are super high. Like, look at that. And it makes sense. Like, look at Mike Evans. Like, are you really playing Mike Evans or Amari Cooper at a 1.5 multiplier over Tom Brady at a 1.25? Probably not, because the probability of Tom Brady scoring 20-something points, look at last year. The probability of him scoring 20-something points is so much higher than these players who are very reliant upon a touchdown or two, right? makes me want to increase the importance here on the quarterbacks a little bit. And kickers, are they totally irrelevant? Man, I guess to an extent they're relevant. 2.2 multiplier, 2.3. That's pretty high. That's pretty high. Wow. Tight ends seem like a garbage position, honestly. Like, you need a touchdown. Otherwise, what's the point of playing these guys? So, like Gronk, the only guy I really would even think about playing because he can score. But even still, like, his multiplier at 1.95 is the same as Michael Gallup. Like, why am I playing? I would not play Gronk. Like, basically, every single lineup I make will probably include 4 wide receivers. Four wide receivers. And then hopefully Brady. I think every single lineup I would create would be something like that. Yeah, and then look at my wide receiver exposure. That's much better. And like I'm going to want some Cooper too, right? I'm getting a little exposure to Zeke, a little bit to Gio. Nothing here at tight end. I mean, if you want some Gronk, kickers, I guess you could try to go out of your way and get a little bit if you want. I don't know, guys. This is interesting. This is interesting to me. I'm actually excited about the playing on Superdraft. A 1,600 to max out. Do I have anything else? Let's see here. Oh, nice. They get $8.87. Same amount of entries, 2,900. That's cool. Hey, look at this. They set it up. 2,900 no matter how many what buy-in you did. You guys can practice down here with a nickel. Okay, cool. Let's look at Yahoo, okay? Let me bring up Yahoo DFS, which couldn't even tell you if I know my sign-in. Do I know my sign-in? We don't recognize this email. I'm going to have to figure that out. Can I just show it like this? Okay, I have not done Yahoo before. Let me look at the rules real quick, and then let's go look at some FC and see if we can figure this out. Appreciate y'all hanging out while we do this. I think this is actually probably helpful for people to see as well. Okay, so we have what? This is already almost filled? What the heck? I missed the boat. Let's go 150 max, 150 max. What about this? 85. All right. Okay, rules real quick. Okay, superstar earns 1.5 times the points. Can be any position. Flex is normal. So this is very similar. 5 players again. All right. No difference. All right, cool. So yeah, I do get it. What's interesting though, right? Okay, let's get started. It's a budget of 125. So here's where I'm confused, my friends, and maybe this is just me. Where's their pricing? Oh, salaries right here. More wide receivers. Fam, I mean, there's nothing different to do here. This is Fanduel Superdraft. It is a clone. I was just going to say, it is a clone. That's hilarious. That is really funny, dude. There's like, I don't need to cover it again. It's just a different site with different, salary. We got similar rules and everything. 1.5 times multiplier. Really, the only one that separates itself as being totally different is Superdraft, and that's because of those multipliers. And really, all you have to do each week, I would imagine, is just compare the multipliers and the probability is hitting those multipliers. Like if CeeDee Lamb and Rob Gronkowski both have a 1.95 multiplier, who has a better chance of popping off? Just answer yourself. That's the question you ask yourself every time you build for some of these other sites, right? I really think the only one that takes like a crazy amount of groups and focus on your rules and things like that, DraftKings, because there's 6 positions. There's 6 spots in your lineup. FanDuel, Superdraft, Yahoo, I mean, we're talking 5. Just pray you got the right combination. I don't think it takes too much other than doing maybe small little groups for each, MVP, star, captain spot. And that's about it. You make a group for if Tom Brady is your star, what happens? You just tell your stories. There's nothing different to do here, my friends. Look, Tom Brady, the star. If that happens, here is what I'm saying is going to happen. Antonio Brown is going to get peppered. Gronkowski catches 2 touchdowns, right? Giovanni Bernard gets 8 receptions out of the backfield. Tell your story. Why'd that happen? Because CeeDee Lamb feasted up and down the field. Zeke Elliott got the ball 25 times, and they just took the wind out of the sail of Tampa. Just tell your story. Tell your story around the star. Tell your story around the FanDuel captain or MVP. Tell your story around the champion on Superdraft. Tell your story around the captain on DraftKings. That's it. I honestly went into today thinking each site was going to be very specific to how you need to play. I no longer think that. I think DraftKings separates itself a little bit, needing groups for sure. I think Superdraft separates itself because of the multipliers on all the flex or super flex spots also having multipliers. But FanDuel and Yahoo, just try not to be chalky. I'm late to the party. I have to catch the stream after live is over. Appreciate you being here no matter what, though. Thank you very much for all those likes on YouTube. By the way, we've had like 100-something people join or subscribe on YouTube this week. It has been pretty cool to see. Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. So thank you for the support. It's been wild. Have I told you guys what we got going on here? It's story time. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's story time, my friends. Let's see. Tomorrow, we will have the stream at the normal 1 o'clock time. But, my friends, we're going to be focusing. We've done so much for these showdown slates. 3 straight days, by the way. Okay, that's a lot. Even today was like a stretch. We covered MME. We covered showdown. We covered single entry for showdown. We covered every single site. We talked about groups. We talked about settings. We talked about different strategies, telling stories. I mean, we covered everything, right? Next week, when we're doing our weekly streams, Monday and Tuesday, if you are new to watching this channel, you're going to love it because this is what we did last year and the year before on Twitch. We would go back through Fantasy Cruncher. We would go into lineup study, and we would study what happened in winning lineups. What did the pros do? We're going to study the $40, $150, 150 entry contest. And we're going to look at this stuff and we're going to study winners, study winning trends on Monday, partially on Tuesday. And then on the back half of Tuesday and probably the start of Wednesday, we're going to go through lineup rewind and we're going to try to emulate that. Can we take what we had in week 1, content and projection wise, and can we emulate what the winners did? What can we learn? Is that something that they just, luck box their way into, or did they go out of their way to do that? We're going to look for trends like this one. When we look at all the pros in week 1, we're going to see what they did through lineup study and their main slate, their showdown slates. And we're going to look at it and say, wow, look at this. 85% of the pros that we're looking at are using some type of global cap where no one in their player pool is getting more than 60% exposure. And we're going to try to find those trends, and we're going to try to take advantage of them all year. That is mostly going to be the Monday and Tuesday stream where we just scour the data, we see what we can find, and then we see what we can figure out. Yeah, you're going to freaking like that. Adam Meyer, you are correct. Lineup study is the nuts. We are going to enjoy ourselves for sure. All the data, baby. What's up, Javad? Appreciate you, baby. FanDuel and Yahoo. I use QB and MVP for the raw points upside. Good to know. I mean, honestly, I got to look through this. I'll be intrigued to see. So the Showdown article that Scrosby puts out is very specific for sites. So I'll be reading that because it's new to me. This is all new to me. What's up, Zach? Thanks for the question, my friend. How much two tight end is Dallas going to run to give protection without Zach Martin? I honestly have not broken into the analysis of the game itself. I am very, very much in the camp that stuff is baked into projections. And then if I go through there and I start trying to weight that into my projections, now I'm just double weighting things. I care about ownership. I care about correlation. And then I'm going to marry the two, put them in my lineups. Honestly, that's it for me, friend. You're going to hear a bunch of stuff all week. People talking about 37% of the time last year, this team ran two tight end sets when facing a team that runs a 4-3 second level defense, made sure that they kept the ball over the middle. So I'm going to be targeting CeeDee Lamb running out of the slot 86% of the time. No. You ain't going to win DFS tournaments with that garbage. I hate to break it to you. That stuff is awesome for analysis. It's fun to listen to. It's super fun to talk about. You ain't going to win a tournament looking at that garbage. You're just not. You're not going to win anything like that. Can you get lucky and win one? Yeah, sure. But DFS is not about stats. DFS is not about analytics. DFS is about trends. It's about correlation, and it's about ownerships. It's a puzzle. Every single slate is a puzzle, and you need to approach it like a puzzle. You gather up all your puzzle pieces, and then you got to put them together. No puzzle goes together the same way. They all have general guidelines like a puzzle, right? You build from the outside in. Okay, that's a guideline, right? That's a guideline. We can all kind of loosely follow that. There's no rule that says you have to, but it is a guideline. From there, that puzzle gets put together in its own way because it's its own puzzle. It's not the same as the train you made last week. This one's a banana. I don't know, just focus specifically on ownerships, correlation, and like leveraging the field, putting together your lineups correctly. Don't focus on stats, my friends. Try hard not to focus on stats. Leverage the field right there. Yeah. Zach Lewis, I love that, man. Let's go. Won 18K last year with two tight ends in New Orleans, Green Bay. Sounds like you love them two tight end strategies. I mean, if you're thinking that is a thing for the showdown slate, then, OJ Howard's your guy, probably, right? Dalton Schultz is probably your guy. I'm thinking that you're hoping these guys are on the field more, right? OJ Howard potentially playing a similar amount of snaps, maybe more only for the pass catching role. OJ Howard over Gronk. Dalton Schultz, if you think he'll be on the field a lot more as a pass blocker, or they'll be out there with two tight end sets to protect him, which one's going to be the pass blocker, which one's running routes. If you want to dive into that type of stuff, go for it. If you have pass catching running backs, do you think the opposing quarterback and wide receiver would be good in a group? Sure. I don't think that's like a bad thing. So you're saying like Giovanni Bernard is being used? I mean, you could, is there correlation with having an opposing running back on wide receiver? I don't think, or a quarterback on wide receiver. I don't think so. Like if you're saying Gio is getting a bunch of receptions, right? Racking up receiving yards too. I mean, couldn't Zeke have run for 150 yards and 3 touchdowns to force Tampa to throw the ball? In which case, Dak and one of his pass catchers not needed in a group. So, Pat, I mean, again, that just comes back to what CG was saying. Tell your story. You wish you knew the NFL coaches personally so you could have a talk about it. Have you seen some of their interviews and stuff? Do you really want to sit down with some of these guys? Woo! They are intense. They are intense individuals, man. Good luck. Imagine sitting down with like Belichick. Golly, what are you going to learn? Yeah, we're going to run some plays out there on Sunday. Yep, we have multiple tight ends. Yeah, some plays will be runs, some will be passes. You're like, okay, yeah. Okay, bye, Bill. You learn nothing. Thinking about Xing the kickers because you don't need them in high projected game totals. Cheap wide receivers might outscore them. Okay. That's site dependent. I'm actually intrigued. Okay. Accepted. I accept your business proposal. When I was looking at Superdraft Champion mode, okay, I actually think, my friend, that kickers have a place on Superdraft. Did you see their multipliers? I mean, those kickers got some seriously high multipliers. And look at this. His projection's low, but a 2.2, right? I mean, there's a chance Ryan Suckup has just as good of a chance as Giovanni Bernard of getting 20 plus points, doesn't he? I mean, look at last year. It's not like it didn't happen. Didn't happen a lot. I don't know. Tell your story. I appreciate y'all. Thanks for hanging out today. Tomorrow, main slate. Come back at 1 o'clock right here on YouTube. Hit the like button on your way out. We had 2 more videos, I think. 2 more videos by Beastie went up on YouTube. A showdown slate video and Beastie's, what does he have? Bottom of the barrel, I think, went up this morning. So 2 awesome videos. We've got a college football video coming out later tonight or tomorrow morning. So turn your alerts on here on YouTube. And I have another stream tomorrow at 1 o'clock. We're putting together a private stream for our company tomorrow night for the Thursday night showdown. Still need to connect with one of the staff for that one. And we'll go from there, my friends. So a lot of stuff going on. Hope to see you on the inside. Thank you, UFC, for sponsoring. And check us out. I'll drop the subscribe link in there in chat just for you. Actually, I think it's in the, I don't even think I need to. You guys can grab the subscribe link in the description section if you are not a member. We'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock for the first of our main slate analysis streams. Those are going to be fun. We did not do those last year. Looking forward to doing it this year. Have a good day, my friends. See you on the inside.